The moment my fist shattered the crystal chandelier, I knew the night was already lost. Glass rained down over the marble floor like sharp snow, sparkling under the ballroom lights. People screamed. Some ducked, some froze. None of them dared move toward my sons. Carter and Cooper stood in the middle of the chaos, 5 years old, small bodies shaking with rage, their eyes wild. They looked nothing like children in that moment. They looked like storms. I stood near the ruined birthday cake, my black suit still perfect, my hands clenched so tight my knuckles burned. 300 guests lined the walls, pressed back as far as they could go. Powerful men, wealthy women, people who ruled this city in their own ways. And all of them were terrified of 2 kindergarten boys. Everyone knew the rule. Nobody touched my children. Carter grabbed a champagne bottle and swung it at one of my guards. The man didn't block it. He took the hit to the knee and fell back with a grunt, choosing pain over my anger. Cooper laughed and joined his brother, hurling silverware like weapons. Gold forks clattered off marble and walls. Expensive orchids were crushed underfoot. This was supposed to be a celebration, their birthday, my legacy on display. Instead, it was a disaster unfolding in real time. My lieutenant approached me carefully, like I was the dangerous one. His voice was low, controlled, afraid. "Sir, we've tried everything. Specialists, therapists, doctors, nothing works." I already knew I had paid them all, the best money could buy. Each one had left my house pale and shaken, offering excuses dressed up as diagnoses, attachment issues, behavioral disorders, trauma with no source they could find, useless words. Carter smashed an ice sculpture shaped like a swan. Swiss artists had flown in just for that piece. It shattered beautifully. Cooper clapped like it was a show. Phones came out. I saw them. Recording, streaming, capturing my failure from every angle. I felt something tight in my chest. Not fear, something worse. Helplessness. My sons moved together, like they shared one mind, one rage. Plates flew. Paintings tore. A violin shattered on the floor. I shouted once. Just once. They didn't even look at me. That was when I understood the truth I had been avoiding for months. I didn't know how to reach them. I didn't know what they needed. And whatever was broken inside them wasn't something I could fix with money or threats. I raised my hand and forced my voice steady. $1 million, I said, to anyone who can make them stop. Silence followed, heavy, awkward. No one stepped forward. My sons laughed. "Nobody can stop us," Carter shouted. I believed him. Then the doors opened. It was part of a tradition I barely thought about. Once a year, for 1 minute, we let the homeless come in and take leftovers. A gesture, clean, controlled, meaningless. They shuffled in quietly, heads down, moving fast, taking food and leaving, all except one woman. She came in last, thin, dirty, wrapped in layers of torn clothes. She moved like every step cost her something. She didn't rush for food, she just stood there, swaying slightly. My guards moved toward her. "Just one plate," she whispered. Then she looked up, not at me, at my sons. Something changed in the room. I felt it before I understood it. The screaming stopped. The crashing stopped. Carter and Cooper turned slowly, their bodies going still. The woman pulled free from the guards and took a few steps forward. Her arms lifted. Not threatening, not begging. She began to hum. The sound cut through the wreckage like warm air through ice. Soft, broken, familiar in a way that made my skin prickle. My sons dropped what they were holding. Cooper's fists opened. Carter's shoulders relaxed. Their breathing slowed. I raised my hand to stop my guards. No one moved. The woman dropped to her knees, still humming, tears streaking through the dirt on her face. She was crying, but she was smiling too, like she had found something she had been searching for forever. Carter took a step toward her. Then Cooper followed. Glass crunched under their shoes, but they didn't notice. Neither did I. When they reached her, Carter whispered a word I had never heard from him before. "Mama." Cooper said it too. They ran into her arms, clinging to her like she was air, like they were drowning and she was the only thing keeping them alive. The room disappeared. My heart stopped. Because my sons had never called anyone that word. And somehow, standing there in the ruins of my perfect life, I knew this woman was not a stranger. She was the answer. And whatever came next was going to destroy me. For a long moment, nobody moved. 300 people stood frozen while my sons clung to a woman who looked like she might collapse at any second. Carter and Cooper buried their faces in her chest, their small bodies shaking with sobs that sounded too deep for children their age. The rage that had filled the room minutes earlier was gone, like someone had turned off a switch I never knew existed. My guards waited for my order. I couldn't speak. The woman held my boys like she had done it 1,000 times before. Her arms trembled from weakness, but she didn't loosen her grip. She rocked them gently, humming the same soft tune, whispering words only they could hear. "My babies," she said. "Mama's here." That word hit me harder than any bullet ever could. "Mama." Carter pulled back first. He lifted his small hands and touched her face, tracing her cheeks like he was memorizing her. His voice was small now. Not wild, not angry. "Where were you?" he asked. "We waited." Cooper nodded, his lip trembling. "We had bad dreams," he added, "every night." My knees gave out. I dropped to the marble floor, glass biting through my suit pants, pain spreading through my skin. I didn't care. I couldn't look away from them. From her. The woman finally looked up at me. Our eyes met. I knew her. The years fell away in an instant. The nights. The lies I told myself. The choice I made because it was easier. "Addison," I said. Her mouth tightened. Her eyes filled with fresh tears, but they were sharp now. Angry. "They took them," she said quietly, loud enough for the room to hear. While I was unconscious, I woke up and they told me my babies were gone. They told me I imagined them. The room started to murmur. I couldn't hear it. My mother's face flashed in my mind, her cold voice, her obsession with bloodlines and reputation. My stomach twisted. "You said I died," Addison continued. "You let them say I died." "I didn't know," I said. The words tasted like ash. "I swear I didn't know." She laughed once. It wasn't kind. "You knew enough," she said. "You told me to disappear. You told me children like this were mistakes." Carter turned and looked at me. "You made Mama go away?" he asked. The accusation in his eyes shattered something inside my chest. "No," I whispered. "I didn't know she was alive." It didn't matter. I could see it on their faces. The understanding. The hurt. Addison tried to stand, still holding both boys. Her body shook. She was too thin. Too weak. I moved without thinking, reaching out to help. She flinched. I stopped. "I lived on the streets," she said. 5 years, looking for them, wondering if they were real." Her voice cracked, but she didn't stop. "They said I was crazy. They locked me away. Then they let me go with nothing." My guests were silent now, phones lowered, faces pale. I had built my empire on fear. On control. None of it mattered. "I was wrong," I said. The words tore out of me. "I broke everything. I broke you. I broke them." Addison looked down at the twins. Her anger softened when she saw their faces pressed against her. "They're not broken," she said. "They were hurting." Carter nodded. "We were angry," he said simply. "We didn't know why." Cooper squeezed her tighter. "Now we do." Something in my chest collapsed. I crawled closer, stopping a few feet away. Close enough to beg. Far enough to respect the space she needed. "Please," I said, "don't take them away. I know I don't deserve them, but I can't lose them too." Addison's jaw tightened. "You already lost me," she said. "You lost that right." The twins looked between us, confused, scared. "Are you staying?" Carter asked her. "Can you live with us?" Addison closed her eyes. When she opened them, there was grief and strength and exhaustion all mixed together. "I'll stay," she said. "For them, not for you." I nodded. I would have agreed to anything. "Take the East Wing," I said. "It's yours." Security you choose. I won't cross your door unless you invite me." Quote. She studied me for a long moment, then nodded once. The boys relaxed like they had been holding their breath for years. As they led her toward the exit, Carter looked back at the destroyed ballroom. "We didn't want to be bad," he said. "We were just empty." The doors closed behind them. And for the first time in my life, I stood alone in the ruins of everything I thought made me powerful, knowing the only thing that ever mattered had been taken from me by my own hands. The house was quiet in a way it had never been before, not the controlled silence I used to demand. This was different, softer, careful. Like everyone was afraid to breathe too loud and scare something fragile away. Addison stayed in the East Wing with the boys. I stayed everywhere else. That was the rule. I gave it without being asked. The twins changed almost overnight. The anger disappeared like it had never existed. No screaming, no breaking things, no wild eyes. They slept through the night in Addison's bed, tangled in her arms, listening to her hum that same soft song until they drifted off. I heard it sometimes through the hallway door. It hurt, and it healed something at the same time. I moved into my office, slept on the leather couch, woke up sore and exhausted, but I welcomed the discomfort. It felt earned. The staff watched me differently now. Not with fear, with something closer to respect mixed with pity. Weeks passed. Addison gained weight. Color returned to her face. She wore clean clothes but changed them, sewing and fixing them like she needed to make them hers. She didn't speak to me unless it was about the boys. Schedules, doctors, school. I listened. I obeyed. The twins started calling me Dad instead of Father. They held my hand when we walked in the garden, sat on my lap during story time. Every touch felt like a gift I hadn't earned. They stopped having nightmares. One morning, Cooper told me, "Mama sings the bad dreams away." I nodded because my throat wouldn't work. Addison watched us closely. She never stopped me from being with them, but she never encouraged it either. She was protecting them. From me. I accepted that. 3 months in, Cooper fell and hit his head on the table. Blood everywhere. Addison panicked. Carter screamed. I didn't think. I just moved, wrapped a towel, called the doctor. Drove fast. At the clinic, Cooper held both our hands while they stitched him up. Addison on one side, me on the other. We didn't look at each other, but we didn't let go. That night, after the boys were asleep, Addison asked me to have coffee in the kitchen. Just coffee. We talked until morning. She told me about the streets. I told her about my mother, about the documents I found after she died, the payments, the lies, the theft. Addison cried. Not loud, quiet, tired. I knew, she said. I just needed proof. After that night, things shifted. Not healed, not forgiven, but less sharp. She left her door open during bedtime stories. I sat in the hallway and listened. The boys knew I was there. They waved to me before sleep. One evening, Carter asked, "Why don't you and Mama sleep together like other parents?" Neither of us answered. Then Cooper got stitches out. The scar faded. Life moved forward in small steps. Addison started using the library. Sitting near me, reading in silence. Sometimes she commented on a book. Sometimes I did. Normal. It felt unreal. One night I found her crying in my study, holding a picture of her mother. She didn't tell me to leave. We talked. Really talked. For the first time, there was no anger in her voice. Just truth. I didn't ask for forgiveness. I didn't deserve it. But for the first time since that night in the ballroom, I believed something else might be possible. Not because I wanted it, but because the boys did. The night everything finally broke open was not dramatic. There were no guns, no shouting, no threats. It was just rain against the windows and a small voice in the dark. Carter had a nightmare. He came running down the hallway barefoot, rubbing his eyes, his hair a mess. He didn't go to Addison first. He came to my office. He stood by the couch where I slept and whispered, "Dad." I sat up fast, my heart already racing. "I saw her go away again," he said. His voice shook. I tried to hold her, but my hands went through her like smoke. I pulled him onto my lap. He was warm and heavy in that sleepy way kids are. I held him tight. "She's not going away," I said. "Not tonight, not ever again, if I can help it." He stared at me like he was trying to decide if he could trust that. Then he asked the question that made my chest ache. "Do you love her?" I didn't answer right away because the truth was bigger than one word. "Yes," I said finally. "But love doesn't fix what I did." Carter nodded like that made sense to him, like he understood love and pain could live in the same place. I carried him back to the East Wing. Addison opened the door in a robe, hair loose, eyes worried. When she saw Carter in my arms, her face softened. She stepped aside and let me in without a word. That had never happened before. Inside, Cooper was half awake, sitting up in bed, clutching Addison's pillow like a shield. "Mama," he said, then saw me and blinked. "Dad is here." Addison sat on the edge of the bed. I sat in the chair across from them, keeping distance like I always did. But this time, it wasn't cold distance. It was careful distance. Carter climbed into bed between them, pressing his face into Addison's side. "I had the bad dream," he mumbled. Addison ran her fingers through his hair. Then her eyes lifted to me. "You promised," she said quietly. "I know," I said. "I'm here." She watched me for a long moment, and I could see the war inside her. The part of her that wanted to hate me. The part of her that wanted her sons to have a whole home. "I can't forgive you," she said. I nodded. "I don't expect you to." "But I also can't keep living like I'm a guest in my own children's life," she said. Her voice trembled, but she didn't back down. "I need real stability for them, not two separate worlds." The words hit me hard, because she was right. "We can build that," I said. "On your terms." Cooper's eyes filled with tears. "Does that mean Mama stays forever?" he asked. Addison pulled him close. "Yes," she whispered. "I'm staying." Carter lifted his head and looked at me. "Does that mean you stop being mean forever?" My throat tightened. "I already stopped," I said. "And I'll spend the rest of my life proving it." Addison stood and walked to the window, staring out at the rain. When she spoke again, her voice was softer. "I didn't just lose 5 years," she said. "I lost who I was. I was a mother, and they turned me into a ghost." "I know," I said, "and I can't undo it. But I can make sure nobody ever treats you like that again." She turned back to me, and for the first time I saw something in her eyes I hadn't seen since she walked into that ballroom. Not love, not forgiveness, but a small opening, a crack, a chance. "You can start by telling them the truth," she said. "Not the grown-up details, but enough so they stop blaming themselves." The next morning, we sat in the playroom with the twins between us. Addison held one boy's hand, I held the other. Carter stared at us, serious. Cooper chewed his lip. I took a breath. "Listen," I said gently. "You boys were never bad. You were hurt. Someone took your mama away, and you felt it even when you didn't understand it." Cooper whispered, "That's why we got angry." "Yes," I said, "and it was not your fault." Carter's eyes went shiny. "You didn't want her before," he said. Not a question, a quiet truth. Addison's hand tightened around his. I swallowed hard. "I was wrong," I said. "I was scared. I cared too much about being powerful and not enough about being good. But you saved me." Cooper frowned. "We saved you?" "You did," I said, "because the night that beggar woman hugged you, I saw what I had done, and I can't unsee it." Addison's face tightened at the word beggar, and I corrected myself. "The night your mother came back," I said. "That night changed everything." Carter looked up at Addison, then back at me. "So now we can be a family?" Addison didn't answer right away. Then she said, "We can try." That was all, but to my sons, it was everything. The next weeks were not perfect. Addison still flinched sometimes when I moved too fast. She still locked her door at night. She still kept her distance when I reached for anything that felt too close. But she also stayed for dinner more often. She laughed once when Cooper told a joke. She let me sit on the couch while she read bedtime stories. And one evening, when the twins were asleep, she stood in the kitchen holding 2 mugs of coffee and said, "Sit." I did. She didn't smile. But she didn't look away either. "I don't know what we become," she said quietly. "I don't know if I'll ever love you again." "I know," I said. "But the boys love you," she said, "and I can see you love them." I nodded, afraid to breathe wrong. Addison set one mug in front of me. Her fingers brushed mine by accident. She froze. Then, slowly, she didn't pull away. "I'm not giving you a second chance," she said. "I'm giving them a stable life." I held her gaze. "Then I'll earn my place in that life, one day at a time." Her eyes softened just a little. And that was when I understood what the unbelievable thing really was. It wasn't that my sons stopped destroying the world when a homeless woman hugged them. It was that the woman I destroyed came back anyway, not because she was weak, because she was a mother, and because of her my sons finally felt whole. And because of my sons I finally learned what real power was. It was not fear. It was love that stayed.